I'm not able to read it. Then I realized that, the same two fruits on the same branch of the tree, one ripen faster and other doesn't ripen. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have that quality. The implement, because I was reading the book and I was also doing initially a feel good factor कि चलो इतनी books read हो गई है, but then I realized that कि सब कुछ भूल रही हूँ and I'm not implementing it. So
हाँ,
is it
no,
something I'm wasting my time in reading it? So what's the use if I'm not implementing it? फिर जब
exactly.
implement भी कर रहे हो उसके बाद एक और step होता है reflection का. If something
That
works
goes
for
hand
me
in
but
hand.
it doesn't work for you, again
Yeah,
doesn't make a sense. So how you tweak those learnings so that something will work for you, something will not work for you, and then you tweak it, and then you see yourself whether you are progressing in a right direction or not. Otherwise तो वही
very,
है,
very
क्योंकि
true.
इंफॉर्मेशन का तो खजाना यूट्यूब पे हर
Yeah,
जगह
this is
है.
information overload. Like, how I see is like if you're
Absolutely.
not implementing and just reading, then it is
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I'm not agreeing with that secret book also. Like people, लोगों की life change हो जाती है secret book को, and मैं तो वहीं stuck हूँ कि if wishes were horses then beggars would ride. अगर सोचने से ही सब कुछ हो जाता, I understand. And then they say action, but there is a huge gap between the thinking and action also. So that the secret has not revealed it. So वो भी एक लगता है कि like what Pinaki was doing it, a day before some storytelling session, like people were coming up on the spot on basis of certain lines, and they were sharing their experience on the basis of the certain extempo kind of a thing. Again, things were coming from the people's theory perspective, what they read in the book, but they don't apply the thinking based behind it. Because thinking हमको स्कूल में भी नहीं सिखाते थे कि थिंक कैसे करना है. हम सिर्फ रीड कर रहे हैं, एब्जॉर्ब कर रहे हैं इंफॉर्मेशन को और आगे पास ऑन कर रहे हैं. बट when it comes to thinking, then we realize that no, some things are not working for us and some things are really working for us. So वो गैप होता है ना, उसको बहुत जरूरी है उस गैप को समझना.
very true. I agree 100%. Yeah.
हाँ. So good, because first time I got an opportunity to talk with you.
Yeah,
Uh,
same here. We were
yeah.
part of the Sunday morning club. I think there
Yes.
you are also present. I see very good insight you are giving in that forum.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, and
Earlier
also
you were
it is
part of my any reading where I used to share my book reading things.
no.
No,
So I'm
okay.
running this club, this effortless reading club, and this is my primary source from where
Okay.
actually I read daily, not
Oh
daily,
wow.
every weekdays, but
Okay.
we do not read a lot of content.
Okay.
So
Okay.
again, it is like some reading has to be there, but
Yes.
more reflection and more of the actionable point. That is where actually I mentioned that the session recordings will be provided for people who are not able to join, and
Yes.
also when you are reading but not finding out the summary and the actionable points, then also it doesn't register to our mind and
Right.
implementation doesn't happen. So I'm sharing the daily or every alternate day the actionable points based on the
Wow.
reading that we are doing. So
Wonderful. Wonderful.
so I
One.
hope you have seen the group link. If you want to be part of the actionable points, if you want to uh,
Okay.
see and even you can also share from the points that we are reading. That also is possible by joining
Sure.
the group.
Sure.
So I just have edited the uh, group link. I have just
Okay.
added the group link in the same message that I have shared in the FLD group. So you,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the book which we are reading it, how much we have covered so far? Because if I'm in between, whether it will be.
Yeah, I can give you gist of it. Like we have
Yes.
not covered much because this is
Okay.
just starting.
Okay.
Initially, first day we have covered the acknowledgement forward and all those things and just build the ground. And
Okay.
then this is about like a pastor who is
Okay.
sharing his experience, how he has grown up as a leader
Mm-hmm.
and what where he challenges in the beginning days and
Mm-hmm.
how what all mistakes he have done and how he
Okay.
has kind of overcome them. So it's very nicely depicted thing. And
Okay.
particularly for this book, actually, I am taking little different approach, wherein actually we are doing little less reflection and online or in the live session. We are just
Okay.
reading it. First, in first phase, we are reading it, and
Okay.
at the end, at least one or two points which are actually very bulb moment for us, or real
Okay.
good points that we are sharing. And then offline, we are doing the sharing again, whichever
Okay.
points actually we really like, and how it is possible to implement and
Um,
make it a part
wow.
of our daily life.
Wow. 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 Wonderful. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That's the need
So,
of the hour. Yeah.
and we are currently in the influence part.
Okay.
So, as the line says, influence has always been and will always be the currency of leadership.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
this particular part is going on, and we are starting from this wielding the gun of authority from here.
Okay. 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 So the session lasts, it's like of 1 hour till your break time or lunch period in the office.
It is just 50 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. That is what actually I have planned, so that
Okay.
it doesn't create a burden to anyone's schedule.
Wow.
It is
Absolutely
easy.
right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
daily reading habit is a very good thing. But if
Correct.
it is 1 hour or so, or half an hour, even if it is half an hour, 40 minutes, then also people feel that it is not possible to continue. So
Right.
I believe in Kaizen. Do
Okay.
little less, but do it
Yes.
consistently, and slowly we can scale up.
Wow. Wonderful. True. Very true.
Yeah. So if you want, you can just start reading, and then I will also continue from where you left. We'll read for
Correct.
another 10-15 minutes, and then we'll share
Ah,
what is the point that we really like.
correct. 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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we want to take it over from here.
Yeah. Yeah. But are you sharing me the screen? Yeah, you shared it already. Yes. Yes. Welding the gun of authority from that part.
Yes.
Wielding. Okay. Uh, oh, actually, I have to just start my laptop because from the phone,
No
it's
problem.
little.
So let me read. By the time you
Yes,
can start. No problem.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So wielding the gun of authority. Maybe you have worked for people who have titles that give them authority over you, but they misunderstand why they have those titles. They have confused the authority and leadership, or misunderstood the way authority is intended to function in leadership. And they use that position to make you feel small or squeeze you for results, only to take the credit for your work. Or perhaps they shut down your ideas and won't respond to suggestions. I call this experience being under the thumb. When others make us feel like we are under their thumbs because they are in charge and we are not, it sucks the ever evolving life out of us. Most of us know what that feels like. When people have to tell you they are in charge in order for you to follow, you know instinctively that something has gone desperately wrong. When I when I was in college, I stumbled into an internship in the governor's office in Atlanta. My job was far from glorious, but my seat was in the front row. So I witnessed lots of activity as the governor geared up to enact new policies. My desk was directly outside the conference room in the policy department, where they debated and made decisions. I will never forget overhearing a particularly contentious meeting about the future of education in the state of Georgia. Voices in the conference room were growing louder and louder. Suddenly, a loud banging on the table silenced the room. A solitary voice screamed out over all the others. I am the governor of the state of Georgia. Listen to me. At that point in my life, I regrettably had not read many leadership books. I had never been to a leadership conference. I would have had trouble defining words like vision and mission. But even I knew that something has gone wrong. When someone has to pull out the gun of authority, something is broken. You only pull out the gun of authority when nothing else is working. This is very important. You only pull out the gun of authority when nothing else is working. The gun will get people moving at least for a time. If someone pulled the gun of authority on you and threatened your job, would it get you moving? Of course it would. We all want food to eat and a place to live. And in the conference room that day, the gun seemed to work. But pulling the gun cannot be a regular practice. No one wants to follow someone who is holding a gun to their back. That's not leading. That's pushing people around and forcing them to go where they do not want to go. While there may be times when we need to do this, our goal is for people to want to follow us. Even Jack Weir does not want to come to work with a gun to his head every day, especially when there is another more effective way to bring the change. While we cannot entirely disconnect the authority from the leadership equation, I do not believe we should begin there. At one point during his mass ministry, Jesus warns his followers that they should not confuse a position of authority with a call to lead, because they are in danger of getting this wrong. He abruptly makes a distinction between how he wants them to lead and the way things typically operate in the world. Not so with you, he says. So, if you are ready, you can take it over from here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are
Oh,
audible, but the voice is little bit echoing. I'm not sure whether it is
yes,
possible that.
yes. Now I disconnected from my phone, so I think now better.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. What is the not so of leadership that Jesus refers to here? It is the type of leader who seeks authority for personal gain. Instead, Jesus argues that the best leaders, the ones who align with his vision for leadership, will lead as a servant who are aware of their responsibility and who answer to a higher calling. Do you want to be a not so with you kind of a leader? I hope so. I know what it looks and feel like to use the gun of authority to get people moving. But Jesus tells us there is another way, a better way. Even if you have a authority and a position of a leadership, an inspiring leader does not need to leverage that authority. Not so with you. Kind of leaders learn that there are more effective ways to cultivate influence and build trust. Jesus tells us this is a more powerful way to lead, one we can exercise regardless of the presence or absence of the authority. Earlier, I mentioned the example of Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Mahatma Gandhi. Now, these individuals affected lasting change with little formal authority. But this leadership principle is not just true for cultural and political movement, it is also true within organizations. In a Harvard Business Review article titled The Key to Change in Middle Management, Beeman Tiberigi writes that mid-level managers are the linchpin of change within an organization. He finds that these managers do not necessarily have the authority to effect change, but they can still make change happen. A hallmark of the successful 32% was the involvement of mid level managers, two or more levels below the CEO. In those cases, the mid level managers were not merely managing incremental change, they were leading it by working levels of power up, across, and down in their organization. How do these mid level managers effect change? Tabriji says they work the levers of power in every direction. They don't have authority over their peers, much less their bosses or the other executives in charge of the organization. So, how do they do it? Through influence. The lie we believe is that we must wait until we are in the leader's seat before we can have this kind of influence. But the good news is that influence can be and should be cultivated wherever you are. If you're able to grasp this truth as a leader today, it can prepare you for the future. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, up to here we can
Yes.
complete today.
Yes. But if you fail to cultivate influence where you are not in charge, you will have no influence to leverage when you are. Influence always outpaces authority, and the leaders who consistently leverage their authority to lead are far less effective in the long term than the leaders who leverage their influence. Practice leading through influence where you are not in charge. It is a key to leading well when you are. Correct, correct, correct. So what I understood is, if if a leader can show you a stronger path, which connects with your value system, which connects with your higher purpose, not through the authority of danda, like where we are trained like in animals right from our school days, where only with the teacher's strong force we used to study, and even if we make a mistake, we because of the fear of punishment or because of the fear of failing in exams, we used to do the work. So that is how we are trained, right? Conditioning of our mind has happened right from the childhood. But these people, Nelson Mandela and this
Mahatma Gandhi.
yeah, yes, yes, they showed that you real influence you can put it, like I've seen certain teachers who have instead of asking why you are late, to how we can make things, how we can, what we can do so that you don't get late next day. So instead of converting from why to harshness to your real reason, and connecting with your why can make a leader a very influential leader. So that's what I started understanding when I was reading. So what you were reading it, I little missed it because I was into that Zoom workplace from changing from one laptop to another. So you can share your takeaways.
Yeah, basically that was before I moved to mine. Actually, brilliantly you have summarized.
The gun of authority, yeah.
Yeah. So it is basically says like, if you are really in need of showing your authority or working from the point of gun is the from the authority, then it should be the only way, the last way. And yes, of course that works, but that is only for a little time. You cannot
Absolutely.
actually use that particular strategy every time.
Yes,
Otherwise, it will backfire, because
exactly.
no good leader or no good follower wants to be under a leader, wants to work under a leader who is always using his or her authority as uh, the way or means to get the work done. This is the essence of the in the first half.
True.
And from here, actually, we will start tomorrow.
Yes.
So do join, and it is not very extensive. So daily reading habit.
Yeah, yes, I will join it. I mean,
Yeah. And in 5 to 10 minutes, I'll be sharing the external point from yesterday and today's reading,
yes,
which we can implement in our daily life. It won't be
yes,
too long. So
yes,
join the group, and then it will be beneficial.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
you can
Because
also
you're
add,
in Bangalore only, right?
yes, Bangalore.
Oh,
How about you?
great. Bangalore, Bangalore. Because I now connected the doubt. I have seen your name in that Alagu's WhatsApp group, na? That the small group she
Ah,
created it.
right.
So I just
Yes.
connected a dot. Right, right. I'm from JP Nagar, South Bangalore. What about you?